Hello, Jester Good here, back for another review, and today we're reviewing the long-anticipated LEGO Minifigures Series 12. This is set number 71007. It's recommended for ages 5 and up. There's 16 minifigures to collect. I'm going to be looking at each and every one of them, and these do retail for $4 in the United States. That's not $3 like the usual price, but $4, so they have raised the price of the LEGO Minifigures line. You can currently find these at your Walgreens if you live in the United States. Now let's take a look at the packaging. So here's the packaging for this series. You can see it has this nice yellow color. It's a very light yellow color compared to yellow color found on like Series 1, which is just a tad bit darker, or the gold color found on Series 10, where this gold color right here is actually lighter. So it is its own color. I just wish they would have maybe done purple or something like that. But you can see the back right there, and then the little leaflet which shows all the characters in the series. Now on the back of it, there's actually this really cool little play feature where you could add this game code and you can unlock the character in the LEGO Minifigures Online game. So you could use that. I'm not going to use that code in particular, so you could use that if you want. Try it out. So that's really cool. And now let's take a look at each individual minifigure. So here is the Wizard, and this guy does not disappoint. He's definitely my top 4 favorites of this series. He does have the staff right here, which is probably the worst part about him, but even that fits him just alright. It's just that there's no exclusive casting colors or whatnot on it. And you can see it's made out of 3 pieces. You got the stick right there, the little telescope piece, and then a little jewel on the top right there. Then on the back, you can see this awesome cape that he has. It's basically a purple cape with some printed silver crescent moons and stars all over it. And they are 2 separate pieces. There's this top one right here with the same printing found on the bottom cape. Then there's this much longer bottom cape right there. And on the bottom, he does have this little roof triangular piece that we usually see with these dressed minifigures. And that also has some nice printing on there with some crescent moons and little stars in silver and gold. And then on the top, he does have this very cool wizard hat right there, which is a new exclusive mold just to him. That also has some silver stars and a crescent moon. And his beard is not anything new. It's the same one that's used for Gandalf in the same color, but it fits him just right. And now let's take a look at him without all his robes and whatnot. And here are the 2 pieces for his cape. You can see inside them there's no printing, only on the outside. And here is the Wizard without all of his robes and whatnot. And you can see his nice torso print, which actually continues to that little sloped triangular bottom piece, which we usually see for these kind of dress pieces. And unfortunately, he has no printing on the back of his torso. And his front face print is actually really cool. He kind of reminds me a little bit of a very old version of Brickstar. I don't know why. And that's it for this minifigure. Now on to the next. And here is the Hun Warrior. This guy is really cool. I'm not too much into these historical or fantasy minifigures, but this guy does have some great pieces for fans of those types of minifigures. He has a nice new exclusive printed little shield right there. And this sword piece, which isn't anything new, but it's a nice addition to the minifigure. Then you can see his leg piece right there. He has some nice printing on it, which also has some boot printing, which looks great. And he doesn't have any back torso printing, but he has this amazing cape. I love this cape. It's made out of this weird material. It's not the same material that you'd see on regular capes like the one on the Wizard. It's kind of a more felty material, but it's very interesting on how that attaches. And we'll take a better look at that in a few. But first, let's take a look at this very cool helmet right here. You can see that's a new exclusive mold just to this minifigure, and it looks fantastic. It has these little parts on the sides where you could clip on these little horn pieces right here, which are the same ones that were used on the Series 6 Minotaur. And you just kind of put it in there, and they snap in just well, so you do get 2 horn pieces right there. And if you take it off, you can see a better look at his face print, which is new and exclusive to him. It looks pretty cool. He looks very menacing. If you take off his headpiece, you could get a better look at this little felt cape right here. And basically, it attaches on there because there's this more oval shape instead of the regular circle shape that you just kind of attach to his neck right there. And that's kind of how it goes. Sometimes it sticks up, but that's alright because it's supposed to look very rugged, and that really is the mood I get from looking at this. And on the bottom, you can see it's a more fabric-y type material. So it is a very different material from other LEGO minifigures, but I do like how it came out. Next up is the Princess, and this is probably one of my favorites too, definitely in my top 4, because she looks great. I love her little princess dress found right there, and then of course they have this little triangular roof piece or triangular piece right there, which is the same one found on the Wizard, at least the same mold. but it has some excellent printing all over it. And on the back, while she doesn't have any back torso printing, she has some nice molding on this new exclusive little hat right here. It's a hat and hair combo in this kind of hard plastic. It has this little felt part right here. It's not felt, but it's supposed to represent that little part coming off of the top of the hat. And she has this nice braid of hair. All of this is a hard plastic material, and it looks great. I'm glad that it's not rubber, because I think it would get a little bit damaged from feeling it around, but it looks fantastic. You can see how it's molded inside there. Very, very cool. And her front face print is just kind of a smiling face, pretty cute. She has some nice ginger eyebrows right there. And then she does come with this little frog right here, which is her accessory. While the frog isn't really rare, it's always nice to get a little frog. But I would have wished that it maybe came with a different colored frog, maybe like a red frog than the one that we're so used to getting. Now on the back, you can see her back headpiece has some nice printing right there. It looks really, really interesting. She's probably giving a kiss to the frog, kind of making the tale of the princess and the frog, which is pretty cool. And that's a very cool little printed piece right there because we don't really have any kissing minifigure faces. So that's very useful, and that's it for the princess minifigure. And here is one of the long anticipated gamer minifigures, and he looks fantastic. He has a great torso right there that says Player 1. It's kind of like a sweatshirt or a shirt with a sweater underneath because you can see he does have some very nice double layered molded torsos right there, like the ones from the Simpsons series where he has kind of this sleeve of black right there, but under it he has also kind of a sleeve of a gray color, which looks great. And on his little legs right there, you can see there's a little disc key, which looks really cool, and a belt. And his front facial print, he has just some glasses, and he's giving a little smile right there, which looks really cool. His headpiece, or his hairpiece right there, has those molded headphones on them, on this kind of dark brown color right there for his hair, which is the same molding that was used for the Radio DJ and the Series 8 DJ, which are two really cool minifigures. But this isn't the same casting because we got this black headphone right here with some brown hair, which looks really, really cool. And on the back, you can see there's no torso printing and no back facial printing, but still very cool. And my favorite part of this little minifigure is this printed game controller, which looks really cool. Doesn't look specifically like any real console out there, but it does look really cool as a game controller for, I guess, an imaginary LEGO console. There's some nice shiny printing right there with that silver, and some multicolors right there for the buttons. And that's just on a 1x2 brick. So very cool printing, very cool minifigure, definitely one of my favorites. And here is the War Goddess, and she looks great. I love this silver casting all over her. You got this silver casted little exclusive helmet mold, which has a helmet and hair combo, which is extremely detailed. You got some ridges right here, which represent kind of this helmet, and then it goes into a totally different kind of molding right there, which is this little hair piece, but it's all one single mold, so that's very, very well done. Definitely one of the most detailed minifigures in the whole LEGO Minifigures line, because she also has some little bracelet printing right there, which looks awesome. On both sides, she has this nice shield with a new print, which has some very intricate little detailing all around, and a little Pegasus in the middle. And then she has this nice spear, which is exclusive to this minifigure because there's one that came with a little pearl gold tip and a dark brown color for this little hilt, but this one comes with a light brown color, so I believe it is exclusive to this minifigure alone. And if you take that off, there's even more detail. She has some nice detail on her little dress right there, her skirt, which has this kind of nice little staircase type design. And while it was a pain to put on, it looks great on her. And if you take off her torso, you can see her underpants right there are actually this kind of nice pearl gold color, which will be very, very useful. And she does have some nice sandals right there. And if that wasn't enough detail, if you put her back on, you could see her torso detail and better, kind of a better look right there, which also has some nice gold on it. And her back torso detail with some nice gold. And her front face where she's not really smiling, and she also has some gold for her lipstick. And looking back at her helmet right here, there's actually this nice top part in this white color, which I don't think we've gotten this plume in this white color just yet. I know we got it in red before. So this is probably Mrs. Gold because she is just filled with all these nice little gold details and just a lovely minifigure overall. So either between this or this, the Space Driller or whatnot are my top, or my fifth favorites of the series. Just very, very well done. And here's a space miner, and this guy is really cool. As I said, between this and the Warrior Goddess, I think they're my top 5, or my 5th pick of my favorites from this series, because they're just 2 really detailed minifigures, and while I don't really care for really, I guess, the kind of category they're in, you know, they're one's fantasy and one's kind of sci-fi, I do respect on how detailed they are. You can see this little space trailer right here has this really cool orange ray gun casting, which we haven't gotten that ray gun in that color before, with a nice little unicorn horn tip right there. And he does have this pretty cool little armor piece, which has the classic space logo in this bronze and silver printing right there. And while I would have preferred that it didn't have that printing right there, it's still pretty cool. And his helmet piece is probably the best part, or my favorite part of this minifigure, because it's this new mold that's extremely detailed, because it has this back printing right here, and these new ridges all around. And you can see there's inside part right there, where of course you fit it over the minifigure head piece. And the little visor, of course, comes off, so you could pop that off. And you can see his face print right there. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any back facial printing, but his front facial printing is really cool because he has that little headpiece. So that could find multiple uses. You could probably put on any minifigure that could use a headpiece, maybe like an IT guy or a little gamer. You can make probably another gamer. And then he has this nice kind of strapped little torso print right there, which looks really cool, with even a little zipper in that silver printing. And nothing on the back, but it is very cool to also get these little sleeves in that color right there, because we don't have many colored sleeves in that color right there, so that's really cool. And that's it for this minifigure, and now on to the next. So here is the Lifeguard, and while if you do have the Series 2 Surfer dude who looks very similar to this, and heck, even Series 2 had a Lifeguard, but the Surfer dude looked more similar to this guy. You probably won't find use in this minifigure, but since I don't have the Surfer dude, I really like this minifigure because he has a nice ripped torso print right there, and that kind of torso print was very similar to the one on the Series 2 Surfer dude. He also has these very cool swim trunk printing right there, like the ones on the Series 2 Surfer dude, even though those were in kind of a dark, I think, blue color, and these are in a red color. But since I don't have that guy, I find a lot of use in here because I love making beach scenes, and this guy does not disappoint. The thing I don't really like about this minifigure is that his legs right there say JT, so that kind of limits the use, because if that's a name, but it could be the name of the designer, so I don't know if it's really a good thing, because I don't like it when they put name tags on minifigures. They did the same thing with the ice cream workers from the LEGO movie line. But you can see it also comes with this nice little life preserver boat right there. And it's the same color and casting of the one from Series 2 for the Lifeguard, not the swimmer guy, but the Lifeguard. But he does come with this nice red binoculars, which we haven't gotten casting red for any binoculars before, even though the binoculars piece has been around for ages. So it was very nice to get it in that color. His hair piece is this dark brown, kind of long tousled hair, which in that color we have not actually gotten this piece before, so that is very nice. We have gotten it in light brown, but not this kind of dark brown. And he does have some nice kind of sunglasses printing right there, which looks pretty cool. And so that's it for this minifigure, and now on to the next. And here's a Prospector, and this dude is kind of interesting because, you know, I did have a huge backstory about getting this guy. It took me ages to find him, and really held off this review and the pack opening. But looking off of that personal side, he is pretty good for people who, you know, like historical minifigures, because he has this nice new molding for his hat right there, which is a very cool molding. It's kind of like the Stinky Pete one from the Toy Story line, except this one has, you know, it's a separate molding altogether. And it has that nice little patch printing right there. And getting past that, you can see he has this very joyous little printing on his face, which shows his little gold tooth right there, which is a nice touch. And he does have this beard piece right here, which, if it looks familiar, it's because it's from the Wily Fusebot from the LEGO Minifigures of the movie series. And I can't really take it off, but basically this beard attaches from the neck right here. And you can see his torso print right there, very similar to the old guy from Series 10, but not the exact same torso print. And he also has a little patched pants right there. No back torso printing. And his accessory is very lame because it's just this little pickaxe and not even in a new color. I would expect maybe a pickaxe in a pearl silver or something like that, but all we get is this little gray color that we've gotten it so many times before. So that's really disappointing. But other than that, I guess he's a pretty well-made minifigure. Not really in my tastes because I don't really care for these historical minifigures. But you could find use out of that because he does have that very cool beard right there, which just got inverted to the back. And here is a Jester, and this guy is actually really cool for these two little printings alone. The rest of him, I don't know. We'll get to him later for that. But I wanted to show these little printed tiles because one is just an ace card piece on a 1x2 tile. Very nice printing right there. And then one's a Joker card piece. So you can use that in your LEGO Superheroes line for the Joker because, you know, he gives out cards and whatnot. Do keep in mind that it's not a flesh minifigure there, but just a yellow minifigure, but that's just such a minor detail that it's still really cool. And looking at the Jester himself, he has some nice printing with this purple and orange colors. You got some on the torso right there. You got some on the legs with a little belt. And you even got this printed face, which is pretty joyous, kind of like the Prospector, but this guy doesn't have a silver tooth. And he looks really cool there. I do like that face print because it's very generic. It's not really specific to the Jester alone. And he has this very cool molding for his Jester hat. Now, yes, we have gotten this molding before, but this is probably the most detailed version of that. It has 4 little spots all around. You can see the top. There's 2 purple ones and then 2 orange segments. And there's even some gold printing on the little jingles right there. So that looks really cool. His back printing, he doesn't have any whatsoever, but he doesn't really need any. So that's really it for the Jester. Take it as you may if he's good or not. But I think some of the details on him really make up for kind of a minifigure that we've gotten a lot before because we've gotten a lot of Jesters, you know, from 2009, 2010, 2000, and I think 11 or 2008 had some. So it's nice to get kind of a change up on that Jester with some different colors. And here is a Dino Tracker. Now this is such a specific kind of trope or kind of character because, you know, we don't think of like a Dino Tracker when it comes to new ideas for minifigures. Did she come out well? Well, it's debatable. She has a lot of 2012 LEGO references on her. Her color scheme is a lot like the Dino 2012 theme because you got that brown and kind of military pants and whatnot. And the composite bow right here is actually the same one as the one that Hawkeye uses in the same coloring and whatnot, which was from the LEGO Avengers 2012 line. But looking at the printing on her face, you can see she has a little bit of a scar right there. Her torso print, she has some scratches and even some little, it looks like maybe some tranquilizer or whatnot. And she does have those little military cargo pants on the bottom, which I could find use for because sometimes I wear cargo pants, honestly. Not in this color, I wear it more in a beige color, but it is nice to get it in this olive green color. She has this little, I guess, neutralizer or tranquilizer right there in that lime green color, which we got a lot in the Dino 2012 line. And like I said, she does have that bow right there. And she does have some nice sleeve layered molding like the ones from the Simpsons line in that brown color right there, which we haven't gotten it in brown before, so that's very useful. On her back torso print, you can see she has a little strap right here, and it is very nice to get some torso print. And her hairpiece is this new molding that's found only in this series so far. We got one for the Genie, and now we got this very generic brown colored one, dark brown colored one for this minifigure. So it is nice to get a new molding altogether, especially in this separate color from another one that's found in this series. No back facial printing, and that's it for this minifigure. And here's the Pizza Guy, and this is my favorite of the whole series. I love LEGO pizza stuff. I have basically all the pizza sets that LEGO has released. I have Pizza to Go, the 2009 Pizza Place, and the 2012 Pizza Place. Don't have the one from the train station, though. And you can see this, the printing on this 2x2 tile is just awesome. We've never gotten a pizza box printing before, and this does not disappoint. It says pizza, and it shows a little pizza with some nice little rays of hotness right there. Then we do get a totally new pizza printing too. We've been getting the same one for the past, I don't even know, 20 years or something. And this one is a totally new printing with some new crust detailings, which wasn't found on the other one. And some little, it looks like peppers and some pepperoni. And it looks awesome. It's all on this little round tile piece, 2x2. And now looking at his torso, it's very cool. It has kind of this pizza, I guess, Chuck E. Cheese type look to it. The only thing I don't like is that there's these 2 stains there, so it kind of limits the use because if you make a pizza place, you'll have 10 people wearing these that have the same exact stains in the same exact places. And then he does have these little Simpsons layered sleeve arms right there, and this is in the green color, so we haven't gotten those arm pieces in any sets before in that green color. And on the back, there's no printing, and then in his face printing, he has some little freckles, a retainer, and he has kind of a happy look to him, and he does have some nice printing on his top hat right there, which says pizza, just a baseball cap, but of course that printing is exclusive to this minifigure alone. Overall, amazing minifigure. I love this dude. And here is the rocker guy, and this guy's pretty interesting because he has a totally new molding for his guitar right there. Different from the Series 7 rocker and the Series 4 rocker. Did the punk rocker have a guitar? I don't remember. But you can see his guitar has this nice red coloring to it, and he has some nice black printing all around with this kind of swirly design. Very detailed piece all alone there. And the rest of the minifigure is pretty detailed too. He has a nice torso with some front chest hair and some little buttons all around. And even on his sleeves, which is extreme detailing right there, you can see there's even a little zipper, which I love the detailing on his torso, and I think that really saves the minifigure for me. It's identical on both of his arm sleeves, but it's still really cool. And he has these nice printing on his legs right there. Not as detailed as his torso, but still really detailed with some silver kind of printing all around. And it looks really cool because the silver shines. And then for his face print, he has a very confident look with some sunglasses, a little bit like the Lifeguard, but of course some different colored sunglasses. And his hairpiece is actually really cool too, because it's a Series 7 rocker ones, but in a black color, which we did get that in a black color before, but this one has some exclusive printing of these two waves of silver all around. Right there and right there. So that's really cool. Very cool molding. And that's it for the minifigure. Unfortunately, no back detailing whatsoever, but the hair kind of covers that up. So that's it for him, and now on to next. And here is the Series 12 Swashbuckler. This guy looks a lot like the Series 4 Musketeer because he has the same hat mold and kind of a confident face and a very similar torso. But his hat molding is in this dark brown color instead of black, so that's pretty cool. He also has this little rapier right here in that pearl gold color, which we haven't gotten that in that color before. So that's pretty cool. And then for his torso print, it's kind of detailed. I don't really like it though, because in the middle he has his chest showing, but if you see, his chest is kind of an orange color and it does not match the color of his headpiece. And I've seen this actually the same for all versions of this because other people have been complaining about it too. So that's kind of lame by LEGO. But he does have some nice back torso printing that if you flip that over and you flipped his arms over, you could actually use that as a front torso printing. So that's pretty cool. But his face print right there is kind of cool. It's confident. He has a little mustache. And he has this little plume that attaches to the top of his hat, which you can take off right here. And so that's it for the Swashbuckler. Now on to the next minifigure. And here is the Piggy Guy. This guy is kind of cool, but very disappointing at the same time. Now, first I'll point out all the parts I like about him. He has some nice torso or leg printing right there, that's very simplistic but still pretty cool because he has those little legs that are found on a pig, which are kind of shown by those little black triangles right there. And he has some pretty cool front torso printing where he has kind of a fat belly. And then his molding for his headpiece or his hat piece is very, very cool. I love that pig mask. It's very detailed, but still very simplistic at the same time because it looks like a pig mask, so it doesn't need any extra detailing. But it has some nice kind of molding on this little snout right here. No back printing on that. And then if you go onto his face print, it's just adorable. I guess you could use this for a little kid because it's a very innocent looking face and you do get those nice ginger eyebrows on there. So that's very cool. But then the disappointing part is, first off, I don't really like how his tail is printed. I wish it would have been maybe a kind of a tail that hooks up a little bit like Scratchy's tail or Rocket Raccoon's tail that had the little corkscrew type tail. And then I don't like his accessories. His accessories just a simple green Lego apple. And we've gotten the Lego apple in green many, many times before. Maybe it would have been cool if this was like a yellow apple, but it's green, so that's kind of disappointing if you ask me. But that's it for the minifigure. Still, I guess, an okay minifigure, but it could have been a lot better. And here is a female Genie. Now, we did get a Series 6 Genie, but that was a male one. So this is a female one with some kind of different printing. She has a totally different casting with this blue color right here, but these little shimmers right there in that silver color, which appears a lot in this series. There's a lot of gold, silver colors that aren't pearl gold or anything like that, but actually shining gold. Speaking of pearl gold, though, there is this little lamp right here. And you would think that she would come out of the lamp like this, but if you put her on there, it's going to be really loose. So it actually shows her just holding the lamp, which is alright, I guess. I wish she would have been able to fit from the top of the lamp, but I guess this part on the bottom is just too loose. And even when you put on some studs, the clutch power isn't too good because she could kind of knock over if you push her off like that. And she does have this really cool light blue tealish color. It's found on her sleeves, which are those molded layered, I call them molded layered Simpsons series sleeves. And you can see that on both sides. And also she does have that same blue color on her shirt, and her torso is kind of just this little bra right here with her belly button showing, and her back torso right here. Her hairpiece is really cool too because it's the Dino Tracker one, but this one has this little bow inside it, or this little hair braid right here, which is a gold coloring right there, shiny gold. And you can see it's in that kind of light blondish color, and you just kind of put her hairpiece on like that. And she does have some nice face printing. I just wish they would have had one where she wasn't winking, because it would be nice to get that makeup without a winking face, because she has some very cool silver shining makeup on there. Overall, pretty cool minifigure. Not one of my favorites, but not one of my least favorites. And here is the Spooky Girl. A lot of people love her, but I don't know how I feel about her. She has this teddy bear right here, which is kind of a gloomy looking teddy bear with kind of it's missing a button in its eye. And you can see she does have this very cool female torso right here, which is a female suit. You don't get much female suits, but it's kind of rude because there's a spider popping out, which looks a little bit out of place, I guess, if you put it on a non-spooky minifigure. So I'm kind of disappointed with that part right there. She does, however, get a new hairpiece, which in this rubber kind of material, it looks very nice. It's a little bit like the Ginny hair from the Harry Potter line, but it's not the same exact mold, because this one's rubber and it's kind of a little bit shorter than that one. And it's in that nice black color, so it's always nice getting new hair molds. And she does have kind of a serious looking face where she has some nice eyeshadow and lipstick. Not glow in the dark head, even though it looks a little bit like glow in the dark epilogue. It's actually just some white casting right there. And she does have that skirt, which are always a pain to put on. But if you take that off, she has some very awesome legs right there. I love those legs where she has a little bit of, it looks like a panty or whatnot, and her little socks right there, which are very detailed. It even carries onto the side. So overall, a pretty cool minifigure for her torso and whatnot. I don't really get the whole kind of, I guess, a theme of the minifigure where she's a spooky girl, but the minifigure line is filled with so many kooky characters, I'll give it a pass. Overall, now what do I think of this series? Well, despite what I said in my thoughts video, I think I've grown to really like this series. While it's not one of my favorites, it's not one of my least favorites. I guess it's a little bit higher than, or I guess it's above average in terms of LEGO Minifigures Series. Some of my favorites from this series include the Pizza Guy, who I just adore, the Gamer Guy, who's really cool, the Princess, who's adorable, the Wizard, who's really well done, and I don't know my fifth favorite. I mean, there's a lot of other good ones in this series, but I don't really have a fifth favorite in particular. It's just really those four that really kind of attract me. I guess maybe for a fifth favorite would be the Driller, but I'm not, he's, I guess, a tier under what those four minifigures were. And then my least favorites of this series, which I know a lot of you guys are wondering, I don't really like the Swashbuckler. I think he's probably my least favorite. I don't really like the Prospector. He's not one of my favorites, but he's not as bad as, I guess, the Swashbuckler. The Dino Hunter's kind of bland, and Spooky Girl isn't one of my favorites. I'm sorry about that. But overall, I would have to say that you should get this if you're a LEGO Minifigures collector, because I know a lot of you guys skipped the Simpsons series, but just because this is branded under LEGO Minifigures Online doesn't mean it's a bad series whatsoever. They actually have a really good integration where you could actually unlock characters in the LEGO Minifigures game by putting the game code in that they give you right in each little leaflet of paper, the little instruction paper. So that's really cool, and I think that's actually adds to the play value of these minifigures and spices up the series just a little bit. So that's it for this review. What did you guys think of this series? You could comment it down below, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.